So let's see, what is my introduction? Let's start my introduction. Oh no, I don't have to press anything. How would I like to see a first video? What do I want myself to say? Like hi! Hi. I don't want to be fake, you know? Hi. 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 I want to do a natural hi. Hi. So what I would like to talk about today is how we can shift from demanding into asking a request from somebody. What I mean with this is that, for example, when you ask somebody for something that you want, instead of asking with expectations and already knowing that if they say no, you will be just totally disappointed and angry and frustrated, but asking from a place of really asking and allowing them to know what do they want and following their truth. So I'm making this video for those of you who may be feeling that sometimes while you are already asking for something, you feel insecure, maybe you feel unsafe, maybe you feel like there's this tightness. You don't even want to wait for their answer because you already know which answer you want. And if you hear the other answer, then you will be totally taken apart. So I would like to give you some tips and different maybe perspectives on how we can ask somebody for something that we want and actually being okay with whatever answer they have. The reason why I am bringing this up today is because this theme has been pretty alive for me in the last days and last weeks and months. And I had a very interesting situation where I was able to work through this just recently in an interaction with my mom. It just brought me a lot of awareness, and so I would really like to share these things that I learned from this situation. To give you a little bit of a story of what happened was, as a child and in my teenage years, I would very often have a lot of resistance towards my mother asking me for something. When she would ask me to clean the house, to clean my room, to wash the dishes, to do something, some chores for what I would call for her. So it's her stuff and she's asking me to do things for her. And it's interesting, I just remember so many times I would just have so much resistance towards it. I just didn't want to do it. It's just like, oh, I just don't want to do it. Like, oh. And I looking at it now, I realize that it's not even actually about the things, because maybe, yeah, I don't like to wash the dishes as much as I like to play with my toys. I don't like to sweep the floor as much as I like to go out and ride my bike. But I do also understand that she's my mom and she needs help, and she was my only closest relative, and she was taking care of me and had so much to do. So I know that deep in my heart I really do want to help her, and I would be happy to like contribute. But something didn't feel right. Like, I felt that if I did do it, it wasn't really contribution. It would be like me giving in to her. It was like this, she was bigger than me, she was better than me, and she was ordering me. It wasn't really a request, it was a demand. And then I didn't have the vocabulary to understand this or to even put this into words. But this is so clear for me that that is exactly the reason why I didn't want to do it, because I felt that I would only do it out of guilt, that I would only do it out of shame, or because I was afraid that she would punish me, because she would, I don't know, later tell me to do another 10 things that if I don't do this thing, or if I would have to go into the corner for 10 minutes and be in silence or whatever. So recently we started talking about it, and I started telling her that even today, sometimes when she asks me for something, I'm a grown-up, and I still sometimes just have this really deep, just like rebellion against her asking me to do something, and it's so crazy. I didn't understand what was happening. And then recently we started studying a bit of nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and something he wrote there which just made so much sense to me and to her, and we started understanding what was happening. So how do we know when we are asking for something that we want, if we are making a request, a genuine request coming from the heart, or if we're making a demand, so we don't even want to hear their answer, we just want them to do it? And to answer this question, I think the easiest way is to tune in and to feel how would it be if the person says no. If we want them to do something and we ask, would you do this for me? And they say no. So how would you feel then? Would you be okay with it? Would you accept and understand that maybe it's not the time for them, that maybe they don't want to do it, and you would respect their decision? And maybe it will be a little bit inconvenient, or maybe you will feel a little bit sad that you don't get to receive this, whatever you're asking for, but still you feel that you accept that they chose that answer. Or would you feel just immediately turned off and annoyed and angry or frustrated or disappointed, like you didn't even expect them to say no, you just wanted them to do that thing right away, and you even might feel like this desire to kind of make them pay for it? So this is one of the questions that I invite you to ask yourself, even in the back of your mind, maybe the next times that you ask somebody for something, and just see how do you react to or respond to whatever answer they are giving you, or even the idea of whatever answer they might give you. And you might ask, why should I do it like this? And you might ask, or maybe you won't ask. I don't know. You might do whatever you want. And I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So how do we actually get into a state of being able to ask for what we want without expecting something in return? Step one, I would say, is to first gather awareness. Just understand how this works and feel if what I'm sharing with you, if it resonates, and just maybe contemplate on all the times in your life where you felt like this exact thing happened. That either you asked for something and you thought you were asking but you were actually demanding, or maybe somebody asked something from you and you either felt that was an honest request and so you felt like your yes or no was honored, or maybe you felt that you don't even have a choice. You cannot really say no because you already know that you have to say yes, and then maybe you did that thing out of guilt or shame or fear or something like that. So I think it's important to start at least first recognizing where these things are playing in our life and how we are responding and using our communication. And step number 2 is to actually learn how to ask for a request. I went to several communication workshops where we practiced to ask for what we want. And in these exercises, we were paired up with people, and one, for example, for 5 minutes would be asking for anything they want, and I can ask anything. And the other person, for those 5 minutes, would always say no, no matter what I ask. So it was as if it was like a game to really learn first from me to go wild, to just ask for what I want. It doesn't matter what the other person says. I still have always the freedom to ask for what I want, and to also to see how does it feel to receive a no. And if I would like the other person to do something, one of the ways that I feel works really well is, would you be willing to do this for me? Would you do this for me? Because, for example, if you say, can you do this? If you really see in this question, it's, can you do this? You're not really asking them to do it. And maybe they will not recognize this, but really deep down you're just asking, can you do this? And I, as a child, recognized this, and often I would say, yeah, I can. It doesn't mean I will. I can. Yeah, I have the strength to go and take the rubbish out, but I don't want to. So I think sometimes it's important to use clear language here, and saying, would you be willing, or will you please take the rubbish out? And then listen to their answer. My mother would do very often is she would say, would you please take this thing out? And she would already be giving it to me without even, and turning around without even waiting for my response. So she would say that, and she would be already turning around, and I didn't even have a chance to like, blah, blah, and I just pick it and I just do it. And I mean, a few times this is okay, but after a while it becomes kind of like, wow, my opinion does not matter here. She doesn't care if it's a yes or a no. And it's not a very nice feeling, and maybe you can relate to this. So yes, number 2 again is to say, would you do this, please? Or actually, instead of asking in a question mark, saying, I would love you to take the rubbish out, or I would really like you to cook the dinner for me today. Will you please do that? Or are you willing to do that? Or do you have time? Would you like to do that? And so number 3 is the idea of negotiation. And what I mean with negotiation is, if you receive a no, to not be like immediately thrown off and say, oh, okay, damn it. No, but what if they just say a no because right now it's a no, because right now they're busy doing something else, but maybe in 5, 10 minutes or 2 hours they would be willing to do this. So negotiation is receiving a no or a yes, but let's say in this case a no, receiving a no, and then saying, okay, what about in 2 hours? Would you be willing to take the rubbish in 2 hours? Or negotiation can be also, okay, so you don't want to do this right now, you feel stressed, you feel annoyed, you have so much work, you just don't want to do this. Is there anything that you need right now that you would feel more open to do this? So maybe you need, I don't know, to take a little break, or you need a massage, and just negotiate and see, because things are malleable. It's possible to play and just work with each other so that both of our needs can be met. So my need is to have the rubbish been taken out right now, and maybe my partner's or my daughter's or my mother's need is to enjoy herself right now, or to take care of herself right now because she feels stressed. So where can we find a balance? Where can we meet so that she can help me to take the rubbish out? Or I can do it myself, of course, but in this case, let's say I really cannot do it for some reason. And so that she first takes care of herself, so that when she does do it, she does it because she wants to do it. So number 4 is for those times when you do feel like there's a demand coming out of you and you just cannot ask for a request. It would be lying to yourself, it would be lying to the other person. You just don't want to be nice to them right now because you're just so pissed off. You just want that rubbish to be taken out. It's been 3 days and you're just so like, you're full of emotion and full of this energy that you will know that this energy will just be totally put on that person, and it's a total demand and you don't care about their answer. So if you feel that you're in this space, then I feel it's really important to clear your energy first before you go into that interaction. For this, I really recommend you to watch my video on 5 tips on how to release your emotions. Those practices are very powerful for me, and you can use them before starting that request, because it's very probable that if you're coming with that energy, the interaction will already start on a very angry, frustrated, demanding, expectational place. And if you care about your relationship, and if you care about creating a soft, beautiful, and loving and safe environment between you two, then I will really recommend to clear your energy before going into this request. And finally, number 5 is to practice. So of course, like anything, we need to practice these things, because maybe you have been demanding your whole life, and it's probably not going to be a shift like this where suddenly from tomorrow every request you make is coming from your heart. And you're totally okay if they say no, and you're a pro at negotiating and really getting what you want no matter what. It will take time, and it will take experimentation, and it will take some struggle, and it's something that probably will keep going on. And in a way, it's beautiful, because I find it really exciting to work with these things and to explore and to really understand me and my friends, my family, my lovers, to understand them in a deeper way. So again, to recap, number 1 is to bring awareness into this idea that I just shared with you, into the idea of request and demand. And number 2 is to learn how to ask for what we want. So you can use, would you be willing to do me a massage? Or I would really love to receive a massage right now. Would you like to do a massage? Number 3 is, what was number 3? Wow, what was number 3? What was number 3? I forgot. Number 3. Negotiate. The idea of negotiation, as I said, just play around, ask for different approaches, ask if they're willing to do it sometime later. Number 4 is to clear your energy and to go into this interaction being in your space, being centered, being grounded, and not fully emotional and just ready to jump on them and just ready to react. And number 5 is to practice. And just before I finish, I would really, really love to read to you this beautiful quote from Marshall Rosenberg that I feel just closes this so beautifully and inspires me so much to do this. So, just a moment. Yes, so I'm quoting Marshall Rosenberg right now from Nonviolent Communication. And he says, "Please do as I requested, only if you could do so with the joy of a little child feeding a hungry duck. Please do not do as I request if there is any tint of fear of punishment if you don't do it. And please do not do as I request to buy my love. That is hoping that I will love you more if you do it. Please do not do as I request if you feel guilty if you don't. Please do not do as I request if you will feel shame if you don't. And certainly do not do as I request of any feeling of duty or obligation." Have a beautiful week.